Okay, so from the form, those who gave in their addresses. So when I copied Ronnie's address and I take it to Sepolia, Lisk Sepolia, testnet block scout. So if I paste his wallet, which ends in 1A, I can see some deployments here. 11 hours ago, coin transfer. Yeah, this is good. Let me try someone else's, right? So there are only 3 people who submitted their wallets. Please submit your wallet so that we know what you're doing. So on this wallet there are no transactions, and this is from Judith and Maria Nachiwoka. So also there are no transactions on Lisk Sepolia. Maybe I can try Sepolia scan. So on the so it seems there are some tokens received on 22 hours ago. I think these were testnet ETH. Okay, that's the only activity on Nachibuka's wallet. So excuse me. I think the same with Omega Judith, 0.1 testnet ETH. Okay, so we are going to start with attempting the assignment. As he has been saying, the assignment was to deploy on Lisk Sepolia and then let our wallet let the front end talk to the blockchain, to the Lisk testnet blockchain. And the main issue is that these L2s are very cheap, so they even don't require a lot of testnet tokens, but L1s take a lot of testnet tokens, so we shall be using layer 2s mostly. Okay, let me see if I have some tokens on Lisk Sepolia. Okay, so if you don't have the Lisk Sepolia testnet, chainlist.org. So we can go to chainlist.org to add Lisk Sepolia as a testnet, include testnets, and so Lisk Sepolia is here, or you can complete and have Lisk Sepolia testnet. So if I approve, that network is added, and if I go to my MetaMask wallet, have Lisk Sepolia with 0 tokens. Okay, so we shall be using this account, the one I created yesterday. Lisk Sepolia, and I have 0 tokens. So there's the Lisk facet. Most of these facets don't give testnet tokens to wallets that don't have activity. So let me see if I can get. If you need also a facet, you can the facet link. I think this is the link. So same transaction hash. It's as if I've gotten some tokens, but so it's as if I have 0.1 lisk. I don't know why it is not showing. Is this on lisk sample? Yeah. Oh, it might be on the lisk network. Let me also add the lisk network.
Oh, I had managed to get some tokens. I don't know if I can send you and we continue.
That would be
That they
good.
charge small fees.
Yeah, let me share my address and one ending with 4e. Okay, have you sent something? I think maybe.
I have sent.
Okay, I think it will show up. I'm going to just deploy. Maybe, yeah. I've seen it. So let me first. I want to disconnect here. Um, okay, so we go to remix. You have to use remix.ethereum.org, and then still have data.so. So Lisk testnet and compile. Hopefully we're on the same page. So it is showing custom 4202. This is the ID for the Lisk network 4202. You can also find it in their docs. So yeah, it's somewhere in their documentation. Network address. For the mainnet 1135, for the testnet 4202. Okay. So we want to deploy. And I click deploy. Confirm. And yeah, it has been deployed. I think this is the deployed address, deployed contract. Okay, so what we are going to do is we can get the source code. So we have the index.html. I think I have smartcon HTML. I'm going to use this folder. And in here, index.html. So the assignment was to really first deploy on Lisk as we have deployed, and then to test it. Test it with the front end using Lisk. So the essence for testing the front end was to ensure that you learn how to change chains from VM. So this is the code that we had. And we can run it and see. So copy it from here. So this is our front end. Now our front end connects to the Sepolia network, not the Lisk Sepolia network. So our intention is for it to connect to the Lisk Sepolia network. So here, in case I say get data, I must get data from. So the reason I'm not getting data is here. It is connected to Lisk Sepolia, and let me first connect it to Sepolia and see if I can get data. See, so the reason I wasn't getting data is because there was a mismatch in the chain. So even this, you can maybe put a log, an alert, uh, yeah, console.alert, and then you ask somebody, make sure you're connected to the testnet. So the reason we are fetching data is because we are connected to Sepolia, not Lisk Sepolia. And this front end is speaking to the old smart contract. So what we want to do is to speak to the new smart contract and get data from Lisk Sepolia. So to do that, and let's change back to Lisk Sepolia. Are we getting the logic up to there? All right. So actually, what happens since they are the same, um, since they are the same sort of smart contracts, so they have the same ABI. You will also discover that, for example, if you deploy an ERC20, if you get any ABI for an ERC20, it can work. But then the smart contracts, the smart contract addresses are different. So what I can simply do is to copy the smart contract address and come back here. So this is ending in E or E. This is ending in 2DF. So this is a different contract address. But I can also copy the ABI and you probably prove that it is the same. So to get the ABI, you come here and you copy. So if I put here just a new file, the txt, I just want to paste the ABI. So you see it is the same ABI. Inputs, internal type error string, internal type string, name data type string. So it's the same ABI because you have deployed the same address. So I don't need to change it. Don't save. And from that, we need to come back here. We on Lisk Sepolia. Come back to our app. Since we've changed, control save, we've saved, refresh. So if I press get data, your data is, so it's fetching data. Because there is no data, that's why we are not seeing any data. How do I change this layout? Let me work with it the way it is. Yeah. Madam Judith Omega, you can ask. I think your hand is up.
Yeah, like what's an ABI?
An ABI is application binary interface. So to compare it with a Web2, it's like the API. It's like something like API, but yeah, I can say an ABI is. Is there any? First of all, is there anyone who can explain ABI um, in their own understanding? Yes, Prime. I think. Let me. I think we are close. Um,
Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. No, we can't hear Prime.
Vianney, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, basically, an ABI, it's just an interface. You know, an interface always has something like should I say lay out a template of what we're going to use, like you're going to implement it, right? So an ABI, whenever you compile your smart contract, your compile, let me say, have function A, function B, function C, function D. All those functions have to interact with them on your front end. So when you compile, it will come up with that function and what's there, like let me say the parameters that are in there. So your ABI, it's something that you're going to interact with on your front end. So it's always gotten after you compiling your smart contract. So that's the only way we are interacting with the smart contract. I don't know if it makes sense, but you only get the ABI. It's like the whole template of your smart contract. So it's not that you're going to interact with your code that you've done on the, let me call it the back end, right? Like that after you coding, that's not like after you coding your smart contracts. The only way for you to interact with it on your front end, like you have to go whenever you compile that part where you're compiling on the remix. Whenever you compile, get the ABI. That ABI is what you talk with on your front end. I don't know if it makes sense.
All right.
Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. Any other one? Any other person who wants to add something? I don't know whether Omega is trying to pick something. Prime, we didn't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, clear.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear what the previous speaker said. I was trying to set up my microphone. But what I understand by the ABI is simply an abstraction of the smart contract, which the back end can interact with, which can enable the compiler interact with the smart contracts much easily, because it contains elements of the smart contract that are important for the communication between the smart contract and the blockchain. So it is simply like let me say an intermediary format between the smart contract and the blockchain, which can be interacted with by the compiler for the smart contract to be executed effectively on the blockchain. I hope that is clear. That's my understanding of an ABI.
All right. Judith is still asking for making.
Okay. Okay. Let me see how to make it simple. Okay, it's the what an ABI is like a summary of the important things in a smart contract. So abstraction, yes, abstraction is simply picking out the most important things of any entity and using them for a purpose that they are intended for. So abstraction would be like summarizing the smart contract and bringing out the elements that are going to be used when the smart contract is being executed on the blockchain. So that would be things like the functions within the smart contract and every element that requires an execution to go on that is within the smart contract is within the construction of the ABI. So mostly it's going to be the functions, the methods that are being run in the smart contract. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it's almost pointing. So it's making me think. You know how when you're writing maybe Django and then you have to pip install a bunch of stuff, or when you're
Mm,
writing when you're doing React and then you have to npm install, and then they usually create
mm.
certain environments, right?
Yes,
Uh,
yes. Mm,
in
mm. Like
Python they
JSON files. Mm,
so yes, not
mm,
like
mm,
in
yes.
this JSON file. So does
Mm.
it is it something like that? Because now usually
Yes,
if
it's
you're doing React
something.
and then you go to JSON files, it
Mm,
tells it's like your packet manager. It tells everything you need for
mm,
you to say maybe run npm run dev or something.
mm,
Like you don't have certain things inside that JSON file.
mm,
If you
mm,
run npm run dev or Python manage.py, it won't run. So is it something like that?
It's exactly like that.
Ah, okay. But again, you guys are saying it's an API.
Because tetwafunidde. Because tetwafunidde.
It's an ABI. It's called an application. Okay, someone should talk. Sorry.
Yes, yes, Mr. Prime, you can go on.
I heard someone else was talking. Well, that's my understanding of what the ABI is. Unless someone else has a further explanation, but that's my understanding. That's the best I can put across in the explanation I've
Okay, when
provided.
you relate it to this other side of Web 2, I got it, but from how the first person explained it, it felt as though it was an API because I was almost getting ready to ask. So now, are we about to handle Web3.js or Ether.js? Because those are like APIs in these Web3s, and since we're doing Solidity, I was just about to ask, like, if it's like an API. Kati tunataka takolinga API ku Web3.
The central code has their hand up. Ah, okay.
Um, Really, as overview, if it's okay with you, if you can copy it from the remix and then show her how it looks like. I don't know if it can help her understand better. And then you paste it somewhere, show how it looks like.
All right.
Um,
Any.
yeah, not really. I think I just need to know one thing. So an API is basically your package manager, right?
It's not a package manager, Judith. It's like whenever you every contract that you're going to work with, right? Let me say you're doing a specific smart, like for now what you're doing, your contract, after working with it, you will compile it. What you compile, it's you get what we call the ABI. That ABI is like what Prime said, it's like a summary of your contract, your smart contract, right? So if you want to interact with it on the front end, if you want to call all the functions within your smart contract, you'll use the ABI. It's a JSON file, which is a summary of your smart contract. So for every contract, whenever you compile, you get the ABI. But I don't know if I'm confusing you more, but to me that's how I understand it. But it's not a package manager sort of.
Okay. So maybe the best explanation of the ABI. This helps you to get access to the functions, to the public functions in your smart contract. So for this case, when we are deploying this smart contract, we have two functions, the set data, and all of them are public. So that means that here we have the set data and the get data. So if a function is public, it can be accessed on deployment. So the way to access these functions is through accessing the ABI and then the address. Yeah. So from your ABI, if I'm to open up the ABI, maybe I just
Kulekera okole naye osasule, simanyi
um,
nsobola omusasula.
the central code, your mic is on.
Angela ni akubba.
So yeah, like when you look at this ABI, we have the two functions, get data here and set data. So yeah, here. So it helps you to access those functions that are public. I think for me, I can explain it in that way, but I think some of the explanations can give something about ABIs. Okay. So back to where we were. So we're looking at. this script. So import create wallet client custom get contract. So I want to convert this to have this chain change to Lisk Sepolia. So to know to get these chains, the names of these chains, since we used the VM library, so it depends. If you've used a library like Ethers.js, it has different ways. So here we are showing a chain mainnet. So mainnet is the name for Ethereum mainnet, and here we imported mainnet. So if you want to go to chains configuration, um, so let me search for Lisk Sepolia. Okay, the following VM chains are implemented on the LP stack. So we can import base, and let's see if we have Lisk Inc. Sepolia optimism from VM chains. So I'm not seeing so here there is Inc. Sepolia, there is no Lisk Sepolia. So I think it is not supported using VM. So we could use something else like Ethers.js. Yes, but I think Lisk Sepolia is supported. I've read about it. Yes, Mr. Ronnie.
Yes, I was also trying to find it. I thought maybe because I'm not familiar. And I came across the thing as if custom, making it customly. And the other thing, that's why I was asking in the how to make that for risky testnet in the.
Okay. So if it is not there, then I think the easiest way could be Ethers.js. But is it there in Ethers.js? Because I've used it with actually the app that I just closed. I've been using it, but I've been using it using VM and WAGMI. So version 5 documentation. Yeah, I think it is in the custom, but custom will take some time. Let me just try. think that's all that we could need to change. If it is working. Okay, so let's try it. So that means that for you to get data, you don't need to be connected because you're reading from the blockchain, but setting could be fun enough. It seems to be accepting. So let me text Mr. Let me text there. I don't know. So it's working, and it is not listed. So I wanted to text the dev role for this.
Oh, what have you changed exactly?
Okay, let me come and change. Let me first test the dev role for this. Okay, so when you see here, for example, you import define chain from VM stack. So where were we? Okay, chains. So this is it. So you have to import from VM/chain. So most of the Sepolia chains, Optimism Sepolia, Ink Sepolia. So because base Sepolia, because testnets are having like the chain and the Sepolia name. So I came to this, and though I didn't see the name, and I also there is somewhere where there is a GitHub repository with these chains. I think the GitHub repository has like the entire list of all the chains. I don't know where to find it, but so I came here, and instead of importing just Sepolia, I imported Lisk Sepolia from the VM/chains. It can be just VM/chains, but this is the website. So since I'm using the JavaScript, but mostly if you're in React, you use this from VM/chains. But since now we are in JavaScript, you have to VM/sh, and then /chain. So after here, then I initialize the chain as Lisk Sepolia. Actually, you can deploy this smart contract on different chains, and depending on the network that the person is on, they can call data and and read data on their chain. So let me try here to I think by that can be a good assignment where you have a list, and when you're connecting, somebody chooses their chain, and then they interact from their chain. I think that's all I changed. Is that fine? Hopefully Mr. Mwanje, Mr. Ronnie, that would be fine. So VM chains, GitHub. Yeah, I think this is the GitHub for all the chains. Sometime you can come here. Then Lisk Sepolia. So it is here. Yeah. All right. So that was the assignment. I encourage us to fill the form. Keep filling the form so that we can see what you're doing. You can easily copy your address and then see probably what you deployed, how we can yeah, because with time we are going to be having we are going to verify the contracts. So we shall have these things where we verify the smart contract, and your smart contract can be viewed. Yeah, and also see where to help if possible. All right, what else do we need to really be sure about? I felt yesterday we were moving very fast. Yes, Mr. Ronnie.
I'm trying to implement it here. Can I have another peek how you imported list?
Actually, what you can do, you can share your screen. Is it okay?
I had done a look. Let me see.
I can stop sharing, and or it is I just show you how I've done it, because we could learn from you. Don't worry if things are not working or they are not the same. It's okay.
Or maybe you make an update and you do what? You push it to GitHub.
Okay. All right. So you're sharing?
You are seeing my screen.
Yes.
So I'm trying to here.
Mm.
Is this how you were importing it? This URL?
Yes.
Because when I try to run it here in the browser, this
Mm.
thing, I had made some changes.
Yeah. This is good. Mm.
That when I open the console and
Mm.
try to do some things here, I get an error. And it's about Sepolia. I have been getting that error since. Let me
So
open the
I
console.
think let me see your wallet. Is your wallet address connected to Lisk Sepolia?
Yes. The internet's a bit slow.
It is very fine. It is very fine.
So it's in Sepolia. This,
Lisk
this
Sepolia. Yes.
yes. So
Okay.
now when I open up the console, maybe if it's I added this thing for connecting
Mm.
and it's bringing Sepolia not found.
Okay.
But I
So
think maybe the error is different because I did a lot of changing.
yeah, we can
But
we can
is
go
this the
through
same?
a bit. Um, so this is where your script is starting. Import custom. Okay. Also, what I'm going to do, I'm going to push this. So yeah, I think actually you had gone to custom. You had used custom. That was good research. Yeah, you can go down a bit and we see. Slowly.
I created like 3 contract addresses. This was
Mm.
like the third one.
Yes, actually, you created 3 contract addresses. I've seen them deployed on Sepolia. So first go up. So on where there is chain, stop there. Document.get element by ID.
Oh, this one.
Yeah,
So I also put
Lisk
this.
Sepolia.
I think this has been the properly.
Yeah.
So let me go back and try. Let me open the console to see if it is connected. Yeah, I think that has been the problem. Let me see if I can pull.
Okay.
Okay, let me push something and see.
And I think you can even help us, and you push that data maybe as so that people can see how to connect a wallet, how to use the connect button. That is great. It's great work.
Okay, I'm going to push it, but I already pushed it. It's called the first DAP test. That's what, if you go to my GitHub,
Okay.
I pushed it. Let me also push these changes.
All right.
Okay, I can now stop sharing.
Yeah. So you could maybe put a link to your GitHub in the comments, and I encourage us to follow each other. You can follow him, give his work some star. Yeah. Okay. So I'm sharing. I don't know how I get to be sharing automatically, but yes, that's awesome. So we can sort of continue. Any questions? Others, you having any questions? I'm very deliberate on staying on this issue for some time, because yesterday we seemed to be very fast because we wanted to build an entire thing, and then now we can break it down. Maybe I don't know whose sound is on. Okay, Mr. Aroni, please, like, you can mute your mic. All right. So yeah, how far is everyone on the same spot? Should I go through the code again? You see, it is very good to really try out these things. They're not so tough, so I don't know if you are okay. We can go on. If you feel like there is a part that we need to repeat, hope we can move on. I'm reminding Ronnie to share his GitHub. I think some people would be interested. Yeah. Thank you. Let me be among the first people, to view and give him a like. Star and a fork. Now, please engage on someone. If someone does like such a thing, engage on his GitHub. This is one best way to show uh, like love for collaboration, in case you're going to do projects or follow what they are doing and learn faster, things like that. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So the next thing we are going to do today is we are going to go through the syntax, most of the syntax of Solidity. Not most, but at least now we have a reason to learn Solidity. So we started by saying at least that Solidity is used on part of our, like, sort of our programming. So in this field, it is not that you're going to throw away what you know, what the Web2 you know. No, you're building on it. If you have been knowing the front end, the back end, and then you get scenarios where you know the concepts of decentralization work best, then you can add in the blockchain and things like that. Yeah, so that you have a fully fledged app. So, and we know that this course is mostly based on building, so we shall be expanding on building fully finished apps, getting more complex at a time. So we want to learn at least the concept. So I'm going to just start, maybe probably just variables. I'm not, let me not assume. So we can have variables dot so as time goes on, yes, we are going to learn Solidity deeper, but I think this is a good start to this is a good place to start. And somebody was asking whether you're going to use things like VS Studio Code. Yes, but we can start from here where you don't need to install anything. So SPDX license, I always forget the license. Hopefully it will come, but almost every smart contract you will have that first line of MIT license. So Solidity. So the way we declare a Solidity file, we have all seen this. It's 0.8, probably 0.19. I don't know whether this is this, but I thought it is going to bring an auto completion. SPDX license. I don't remember it well. So who knows that license thing? You can post it in a group. I've really forgotten that. I think I have it here. So it is this license identifier, MIT. So all your smart contracts will have this to show that it is an open licensed code. So, and then that's how you define the Solidity version, pragma Solidity. And the next thing always is to start use the name of your smart contract. So this is like a small go through. So let me say here we on variables.sol. So you can say contract. So for you to name a contract in Solidity, you start with the contract name variable. So we are going to be looking at state variables. I think these are the starting bits, local variables. So the reason we have started Solidity is simply because we know that it can be used and is needed in some parts of our programs. And I think global variables. So I'm going to introduce this, and yeah, we have a discussion around it. Excuse me. and that will be it. Yeah, so state variables. So I think for me, state variables are those variables declared outside of a function but inside of your smart contract. So we can have uint public data, maybe public number. So uint stands for unsigned integer, and what we mean by unsigned integer is an integer with only positives, starting from I think 0 or starting from 1, yeah, to the 2 to power 256, yeah. So there is also int, so you can have uint 256. If you see uint without 256, then that is uint 256. You can have uint 8. So if I put uint 8, it's already complaining. It's not implicitly compatible to expected type uint 8. It's too large to fix the u in uint 8. Yeah, so okay. So you can have local variables. I think these ones are declared outside the function. So those are state variables are local. Maybe for local we can put them below global variables. So it is getting these concepts will save you a lot of things, like so when you declare a variable like as a state variable, that means that you can access it anywhere in your different functions inside your smart contract. So whereas for global variables, they are like variables that are defined in the chain. So let me say things like msg.sender, which will pick the address. msg.value, which can pick the address of is it the sender of the deployer of the deploy of the smart contract. So they are sort of I can say so you'll find like these variables that it's like they were defined inside the language, so you just access them. Maybe when you say require, it means something. Yeah, so these that you just access are called global. I don't know for what reason. Maybe if there's someone who can explain it more or more clearly. Yeah. If no one, I can go to local variables. So we shall be finding these mostly in our functions. Like we shall just be using them whenever we need to. So they are defined within, I think, the syntax, or yeah, by the Solidity makers probably. Okay, so then the local variables are defined within our functions, but again I can maybe talk about them. So one of the biggest difference between local and global variables is global variables are injected by the blockchain, so they sort of run on chain, but the local variables are just defined by us inside our functions. Okay. So I can probably keep giving examples. So if I don't put anything here, that means that is uint 256. So probably let me have uint 8. So if I put a big number like 256 in uint 8, it cannot be accommodated due to the storage. And one of the reasons not to use always just use to uint 256 is because this sort of consumes more storage on the blockchain. So that means that you will incur more gas. So if you have a very gas intensive or a long smart contract, then you start taking extra attention on how you declare your variables. So in case you really want to have maybe a negative value, you can have int. So it's probably 256. So these are just namings. You can have different names here. Have probably negative. Yeah. So always when you're naming variables, you should be precaution. You should take precaution because these take more storage and more gas than to deploy. Okay. So for global variables, could have things like, anyway. Maybe checking the timestamp. Probably when you want to pick data when transaction occurred, you want to pick the time in which probably a transaction occurred. You could be having an app that indexes data. So you can have this block.timestamp. This is it's a global variable because it is defined within the blockchain. So things like address, so where we have address.sender. Yeah. So I think we have done a bit of a definition of variables and how yeah. So we can go to something else. Maybe on that, do we have like some questions? So I'm just like bringing in the basics of smart contracts. I know we've just been writing. So basics to know how we declare the variables, what variables mean. Because one of the things with smart contracts is that they do with money transaction, and this is where almost every line of code matters. And as the gravity of what you're working on continues to grow, yeah, there are many issues. People can lose just a lot of money just by one line of code. So knowing everything is, most of the things at least, is very paramount in smart contracts. So we continue. Or we could have a break. So when there is silence, it implies two things. One, we stopped understanding somewhere. Two, we are understanding everything. Okay, so we can go to conditions. So as we've started seeing, Solidity is like JavaScript. Any questions? I feel like we can have a break since we started by debugging. Could have a 10 minutes break. Have some conversation on how to take this on. Yes, and then All right. Yeah, we are still in the break. So, if you have any questions, anything, how you'd love us to move in the code, yeah, you can share. If you're understanding the concepts, let us know. In the next session, should we come to do a sort of a competition, like cost maybe code-based contributions? I don't know. Yeah, you can unmute and give us a suggestion. Or should we move faster and then come back to it more and more times? Yes. Yeah, waiting for some suggestions as we rest a bit.
Okay, hello. I was suggesting that there's now like we are doing Solidity. If you can share some resources, maybe like the official documentation for Solidity or some good video tutorials, and if we can be, if we know you are going to doing like a Solidity like introduction or fundamental or anything like technical like now, if everyone who has time can go and first look at it before we come, so that we can follow really properly
Okay.
and we are not gambling.
I think that is awesome. So the best place is Solidity by example. I also feel since this for these sessions to be beneficial, we need to be as interactive as possible. Like I really love the idea of another person sharing their screen. It could be that maybe you've learned something and yeah, you take us through the way you learned it. So yeah, I would love such an idea because um, for this to be 4 hours, it is not just a teacher delivering information, but it's meant to be more interaction. So the best place I've always used is Solidity by example. I think if I search it here, and maybe so next week we shall be diving deep, I think, with Arnold into Solidity, where we can see things like ciphering. I don't know. I don't know what he has prepared. It could be ciphering or just using Foundry. Yeah, but when you come here, like you can see first up and then look through functions, get current count. So it's almost the same thing that we are passing through from primitives, variables, constants, immutable. And I think it's a great resource. I'm also having this view that, like the way you shared, a student could share and explain how they understand the concepts. Sometimes that disperses knowledge better. And since we have time, I don't know. What do you think about that? Any other thoughts? Any other suggestions? Maybe we should have a prime manual take us through introduction to Solidity.
Uh,
Yes.
I don't think I'm in an appropriate position to take on that role. I'm still also learning Solidity, so maybe in the next few sessions I may be able to share what I've learned. But as for now, I don't think I know much to be able to share.
Yes, good to hear that you are on. Yeah, but we can continue. So we can continue with the introductions and probably go through, the main concepts. Um, the other big concepts is if we go through variables, conditions, arrays, and then mappings. I think yes, with that we have the basic and almost 80% of the code that we shall write. Other things, things that you know maybe if you're writing money smart contracts, you'll have to pay extra attention to. So is the resting time done that we continue? Okay, let me continue. So if we are going to look at conditions, so I picked, I think, those three topics: variables, conditions where you have functions and loops, and then I think look at arrays, and if all goes well, we can look at mapping. So yeah, how do we do conditions? Of course, we always start with pragma, solidity. So the essence of this is to equip us with capacity to now start writing smart contracts of dApps that don't need very robust smart contracts, or just come within this field without fear. Because I've seen many thinking Solidity is hard, but the syntax is almost similar. Uh, just depends on the logic. Yeah, we can start. This is the compiler version. So you can use, I think from around 19, we are on version 0.8.26, hopefully. And then as we've said, you can define your smart contract. So contract, here we go back to our state variables, declared outside of functions and can be accessed. So we want to see how we can implement conditions. So for example, if we want to have a function that takes in this variable and sets it like the way we saw yesterday, maybe I can write some documentation around it. So when you're declaring, for example, here we can declare, I think we have four ways to declare. So you can declare, probably let me say uint, can declare it as public, and x or xk, I don't know, this is public, and then you can declare it as this can be address public, you can declare it as private. You can also declare a variable as external. Just say y. Expected identifier but got external. So there is also internal. So for something to be declared as external, it means that it will be accessed outside of that smart contract, not anywhere else. Internal, inside of the smart contract and inside of the functions. Private, only accessible within that smart contract, and public within and outside of it. Yeah. So we had like what we had yesterday, which was set. Since we want to set the external variable, we want to get this external variable and have a value in our function set to this external variable. Then we can have a declaration of a new declaration of what we have inside as a variable. So this underscore shows that this is a different one. It's going to be used within this function. So and public means when we deploy, this function will be accessible. So now we can assign this external variable to the internal one. So then we can look at also the get that we looked at here, sort of like yesterday. So the get function. So the get function is all about reading. So you're not going to set any variable, but you're going to read what the external variable is holding. So if wherever some internal variable replaces the number that the external variable is holding, then the get will get that. Yes. So let's declare the get function as we had it yesterday. Function. So what you should know about the get function, since they're reading from the blockchain, no gas is required. That's why initially when we just connected to this Xapolia, like we are getting from the data from the blockchain. But when we try to set, we got an error and then rectified it. So whenever we are getting data, we use public view returns. Here when we are setting, we just use public, but here it is view and then returns. So returns keyword. Then what are we returning? We are returning a uint. So then we return the variable. So we want to look so this is conditions.sol. So we have looked at functions, and then I think we can look at functions that have the if else. So functions for if else, I think. Conditions. So these are like the samples of how you would define we define conditions. First, this is how we declare the functions depending on whether you're going to change data on the blockchain or you're going to just read. And then the other things like memory storage, we shall come to them. So probably we can have a small showcase of if else. So probably we can we said when we are returning, we use returns. So for example, we can have a condition where it's the same if else. If, let me say x is less than 10, return something. Can return say 0. So this is the normal if else condition implementation. Else if this is less than 20, will be return 1, and you can have a default if anything outside of that return 2. So we need to get rid of probably defining x. So u int x, yeah, so you're passing in x, and just remove the view. Yeah, so this is a sample of if else, and the same way we do our loops, we can have a loop continue and break. So some of the places where you will find this is where probably maybe you can say transactions. So if this wallet reaches this sort of transactions, it could be a rewarding mechanisms. If this wallet makes these transactions, then consider it to be valid. You find that when we are looking for example, for testnet ETH, and your wallet is new, your return that this wallet seems to be new, or it's a bot wallet. So this is one of the mechanisms that they use to deploy those smart contracts that check. Yeah, I think for that I can have it there, since it is just introductory. The goal is to intrigue us to go and do some more research, and also understand just the first principles, so that as we start building smart contracts, you can have us viewed these things over and over again. Maybe we can go to arrays. So what you should know about arrays is that they're not so supported since they consume a storage, but you can push to an array, you can add to an array, remove, and maybe count items in the array. So mainly we are going to just have those concepts. So declaring the contract, we start with the pragma. Contract name. So we are going to start with declaring some. This time we are going to declare a string variable. So we have declared the uint, the uint, strings, and many more. So yeah. So the main essence of this session is to chase away the fear for Solidity. and also to give us a morale to go and research and now read it with an open mind. So let's initialize the array. So you can initialize it like this, or you can initialize it and give it values. So let me say, so this is an empty array which we can push values to. It's an empty array called R, A-R, or we can initialize it in this format. And then have like the initial values of the array, and also we can have a fixed size of the array. So for us to have a fixed size of the array, we put the size of the number. So your int 10 could be so a fixed array. I can say my fixed array. Yeah, so that means that the maximum number that this array can have is 10, but it also means that it is consuming storage for 10 elements in the array, whether they are not there or they are there. So now I can have a function to get the elements in the array. So we said when we are getting, we use public view returns. We want the function to be accessed in the smart contract and outside. So what are we returning? We are returning a uint. We can return a memory, a string, or storage. Then we return for us to access an array, we access the indexes of the array. So for this, for example, for this, 1 is taking index 0. So indexes start from 0, indices start from 0. So index 0 equals to 1. Maybe here let me put 5. So index 1 equals to 5, and index 2 is equal to 3. So the way we access these digits, we access their indices. So if you want to access, for example, 5, you can say return array, this is array 2, uh, 5. And if we want to access, for example, any index, we can say we want to return the entire array of I. So we shall access index in positions in different positions. Yeah. So we are going to start with the one we haven't initialized, then push to it. I think that will make sense. So we also have something called memory variables and storage variables. How is it going? Is it tough? Is it I need us to be engaged? Probably next time we shall have to share content, and then everyone comes and explains how they have understood it. Yeah. So for the memory, I think let me just put something that we can use to explain, because yeah. So memory, there is a very slight difference between memory and storage, but sometimes since these arrays, we would want maybe to call a value at a given memory, something like pointers. Yeah. So Solidity can return the entire array. This function gets called with and returns your int memory. Memory, the value is stored only in memory and not on the blockchain. It will exist during the time of the function, the time that the function is being executed. So that's the biggest difference between storage and memory. So for the memory value, that value is not stored on the blockchain. And the biggest reason we have this into consideration is all these factors account for gas. So you'll find like similar contracts doing the same things, but incurring different gas. Like when you're deploying, some contracts take a lot of gas because maybe someone was reckless on the way they were declaring. They were just declaring u into 56, even when the declaration could fit in u int probably 8, u int 8, and then using a return of storage instead of memory. So if you're returning something or storing something in storage, it will be stored on the blockchain. So memory variables and storage variables can be thought of as similar to RAM versus hard disk. So memory variables exist temporarily during function execution, whereas storage variables are persistent across function calls for the lifetime of the contract. So here the array is only needed for the duration while the function executes, and thus is declared as a memory variable. Probably let's take an example. Because arrays are very intensive, like storage intensive, you have to be careful on the way you approach them. So you could have a function So we want to get back the array. So we declare a memory, something that we shall only access during the execution, but then it will not, its impact will not impact the blockchain. So even here when you're returning, you have to put that into consideration. So if you have uint memory here, so you return uint memory. If you just have uint, then you return uint. So we can return the declared value here. So we can have an example of a function also that would return a string memory probably, and see how it is. Then I think then we can go to things like push, and we shall see. So in this kind of, when we return things and we use memory, so that means that those variables we are returning will only be needed during execution. So for a string, we just we name the string and then memory. Here we have to put the array. So we are just returning a string, so we can return I think that's okay. So now we can really add to the array by pushing array.push, the same way we do in most of the languages, array.pop to remove. So we use the last in first out. So that means that when you're popping, the thing you added last is the one to first remove. And then also look at the length from maybe the array.length. So yeah, probably let me do a function to showcase that. Append remove and get the length of the array. Function do something. are going to do it on a uint I. So append to the array. So that means that you're going to increase the length by 1. Yeah. So you can have declared some array here and have maybe, is it, I think it's a state global variable, maybe can just have array2 dot push so maybe we push something. That means that we are going to increase the length of the array and push some value, maybe the value provided by the user. Yeah. So the same way for pop to remove the most recent addition. So could be array 2.pop I. So this can be in a loop, and then maybe you're increasing as you're removing. It could be like a game on chain or something like that. Then so finding the length of the array. So maybe we can say uint array length assigned to array2 dot, or it's the dot length. Yeah. So that's how we I'll play around with the array on a big scale. So you can also delete just the entire array by the delete word. And I think that's a good way to show that. So the next thing is very crucial, and I think we need to be fresh to talk about mappings, because most of the time you will find things like mapping, maybe address, ADDR mapped to a uint. So knowing this concept is very crucial, and maybe it is a variable because it's one of the most common things and used things in Solidity. But yeah, maybe from that we can go on to how to install Foundry. Yes, let's get fresh a bit. So how many of us don't have Foundry on their laptops? Okay. So it's only Run that doesn't have Foundry. Okay, Maria.
I am asking a question. So how is it different? How are they similar or different to Hard Hat? As if yesterday you told us to install Hard Hat.
Yes,
Is
so
it like a runtime environment? Is it a compiler? Is it the official? Just some information about it to get the context.
I think for most of the so you realize that we have been using this online tool for deploying our smart contracts, but most of the time it is not reliable. Like sometimes if you close it, your smart contracts disappear. So for you to deploy your smart contracts locally, you either use Hard Hat or Foundry. But as time has moved, Foundry is the most supported now because your smart contracts are in Solidity, and the tests for your smart contracts are also written in Solidity. So it's good to have. Whereas in Hard Hat, you build smart contracts in Solidity and you run tests in JavaScript. So Foundry will be, I think, the official way we shall be using to write smart contracts as our smart contracts become robust and big. And then since it will be local, so it is easy for you to have your smart contract in this same folder as where you are having your front-end programs. Yeah, so that is it. I don't know whether I've answered your question.
So is it like a compiler? Is it an IDE? Something like that.
Um, I can say it is an environment. So let me go here and see. I think this is a Foundry book. So okay. An issue during installation referred to a precompiled binary. So precompiled binaries can be downloaded from this using Foundry. Foundry is the official installer for the Foundry toolchain. So it's a toolchain. You can learn more about it here. Yeah, I think it is like a toolchain. If you're using Windows, you will need to install and use git bash or WSL as your terminal. So I think it is like because I think I can say it's a tool or something. It's a tool that can be used to deploy your smart contract and test them as well. Yes, that's what I can call it. Whereas Hard Hat is also so what I know is that for Hard Hat, like all your work is in the Hard Hat folder. Overview is development environment for Ethereum software. So cost of components for editing, compiling, debugging, and deploying your smart contracts and apps, all of which work together to create a complete development environment. Hard Hat Runner is the main component you interact with when using Hard Hat. It's a flexible and extensible task runner that helps you manage and automate the recurring tasks inherent to developing smart contracts. Hard Hat Runner is designed around the concept of tasks and plugins. Installation. Hard Hat for Visual Studio Code is the official Hard Hat extension that adds advanced support for Solidity to VSL. So if you use Visual Studio Code, give it a try. So yeah, this is how you start. It's like if you're running npm version 6 yarn. So to install it, you need to create an npm project by going to an empty folder, running npm init, and follow its instructions. You can use another package manager like yarn, but we recommend you use npm 7 or later. Yeah, I think we shall have to use your local installation of Hard Hat. You need to use npx to run it. So npx Hard Hat init. Yeah, so I think these are environments. I don't know what else I can call them. Has that a bit answered your question? But we are going to Yeah, we are going to have projects in the time coming when we are using this. I think more preferably next week, when Solidity is no longer that tough thing. So I feel like this session has been so quiet, a bit less interaction. Should I give us more time to go back and do some research? I need us to do the assignment. Yeah, Mr. Mwanje is the person who has done the assignment. So how should we, or should we just continue? I feel like, people are getting cold and it's not good to get cold this early. Mr. Prime, Maria, should we give you this time to, work out on things and we start mappings on the same page? Yes, Mr. Manuel.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Well, I think it's best that we do a little bit more research, and then maybe tomorrow we'll come back with more information that can help us understand the concepts further. I was personally a little disturbed in this session because yesterday's session I was traveling, so I didn't attend it well, and that's why I'm suggesting that. And other people can suggest what they think is best, but that's what I think. It's best that I take some time and study some of the concepts. Then tomorrow I think will be better for me.
Okay. Okay. Do we have another suggestion?
I would suggest that we do some revision here, since people are getting cold. Wouldn't want the morale to go down. So you give us something like, because me I've just joined today. So if you maybe give us like the project overview, we can go through and maybe tomorrow we meet up when we're at par.
Okay. Any other suggestion? So when I think I'm going to go with that, because I feel like we have started becoming cold early. One is I'm going to ask us to, let me go to Telegram. So here in the cohort 1, so there is this registration form in cohort 1. I encourage us to register, get a wallet. So what happened when we started is we talked about getting wallets, like getting wallet address. So
Hello. Can you share the link to that Telegram?
The link?
Can you share the link to that Telegram group? Yes.
Okay, let me share the link to the Telegram. So that's the Telegram. So the first thing is you should register there and make sure that you include your wallet address. Yeah. So the other thing is we had an assignment. The assignment was so yesterday we had this uh, we did this program. It was like a round program, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, where we also deployed a smart contract. So when you go to this Central Code Cohort 1 Session 2, you can get the source code. It's in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and we connected to Sepolia ETH. I think by either tomorrow morning or by the end of tonight, we shall also have the session 2 for yesterday uploaded. So today, session 1, the one we had initially, was the one uploaded on YouTube. Yeah, it's really tiring to upload those sessions since they are long hours. So yeah, but then the task is create this same task, same DApp, but instead now connect to Lisk Sepolia and yeah, get information from Lisk Sepolia. So we started by demonstrating that. So this is the code from it. So it was index.html, and there is also the smart contract that we deployed on using Remix. So Remix is an online IDE. So this is the smart contract. It is just a few lines, so it's also part of that upload. So you come connect your wallet to Lisk Sepolia, get Lisk Sepolia testnet tokens. And the reason we want to use an L2 like Lisk Sepolia is because we have very low gas. So if we are to deploy the same contract on the Sepolia testnet or the ETH mainnet, a lot of gas will be consumed. So deploy, then after deploying you can get the contract address. It will be here, and also the API, it is always here. Then yeah, you just follow through. So please deploy, even just deploying, submit your wallet address, because when you submit your wallet address through the form, you can just copy probably the wallet address and see your progress, see what you did. It's okay to deploy multiple tests. Now for example, so the one person who was doing this, so he has now more deployments. By the time we started, he had 3 deployments, but you see now he has more deployments. So just deploying, getting through that experience is okay. Then afterwards, you can write about it on X and tag the central code or tag the friends that are here. Yeah, and also if you're stuck or you have internet or anything, I think this channel is the best. You can, because I think Manje kept asking some questions. You can be here, interact. That's my suggestion. Yes, so I think for today, due to the coordinates, I ask us to engage in the Telegram, engage with others. I'll also be in, and the other thing is maybe we can read introductions to Solidity. Yes, Mr. Emmanuel Prime.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Well, what I wanted to talk about was before I forget. Well, when we did the first session, we're recommending that we learn with the public, like we showcase the work that we're doing. So since we all have different circles as individuals, I suggest in the Telegram group, let's share our Twitter tags, our Twitter handles, so that if one of us posts something, it's easy for the others to push it forward. So that more people can see your work and see your progress as well.
Yes, that's great suggestion. We can share our Twitter handles so that your work goes beyond you. One of the things we are looking at this bootcamp is at least by the end of the first month, we have enough confidence for people to submit projects in hackathons, in competition, and win bounties, or to get work here and there, and also to start running like sort of what they call it, startups. So that can be achieved better and faster if you are building in public, if you're sharing what you've done and things like that, so that we can push it. So that's a very good thing. And let's say it could be your Twitter or your LinkedIn in that group, and whatever write about something you've done, maybe a link or what you've understood in the lecture, it can be pushed by both your community and the members around here. Yes, that's a great suggestion. Any other suggestions, or how you think we can better make the best out of what we are doing? Anyone? Yes, let's talk so that we also encourage a lot of student to student interaction. You might not know some concepts. Please let people know. Engage. Maybe probably you can get your conversations out of Telegram, and then WhatsApp, have calls like this. Maybe create a meet and discuss what you're working on. In case you've seen someone, we have this reluctance that people will come to me. Now we've seen who was he? We've seen Ronnie implement the connect button in the app, in the JavaScript HTML app. Hit him up and ask him how should I implement this. Look through his code. He shared his repository. Give it a thumbs up. You can, maybe it's not tweeting, you can tweet and say I learned from him, and tag him. So let's really use our public media, because on one point no one knows what you're doing as long as you're doing it on your screen, but as soon as you give credit and also keep pushing what you're doing, and also engage with others in the community, I think we can learn faster and better. Any suggestions? So I think for what we've learned, we have a task which is installing Foundry. So today's task, let me put it here. So install Foundry and do the previous tasks. If not done yet, go through learn Solidity by example. So it has examples with written Solidity, smart contracts. Yes, I think what other solutions? Maria, Judith, Levi. Yes, Mr. Mwanje.
Yeah, I was suggesting that, if these sessions are going to be a bit technical like this one. If these breaks you can tell us about like those opportunities in Web3, how you like I saw somewhere you were on the East Safari, like how you got there, because people here like me and I think others are trying to reach, they are trying to push it. So if we take breaks and you tell us about, such things, they can be inspiring. They can kill away the overwhelm that has been building due to the technical session. So you tell us how you got the opportunity. I had like one of the session you talked about even winning, and I'm like, wow! If you can tell us stories around that, it can really boost the morale. That's just my suggestion.
Okay, great suggestion. Yes, any other person? So, um, yes. So one of the things I think yeah, I'll become more intentional. So as we are starting, actually, I shared. I think in the first session, I shared a lot about opportunities, and I had the thought that probably people have grasped. But as you've said, that's a very good thing. That maybe probably within breakout sessions, people can see where the opportunities are, how we've come to this place, how they can get in or something. Yeah, and that's I think that's something great. So I'll keep often sharing that. Um, Thank you for that. I think let me note it down. But one of the opportunities that is coming is the roadshow is coming to Uganda, and the Lisk Devrail is coming to Uganda in 8th March, and at least there will be competitions here. So that would be one of the that would be one of the opportunities for all of us who are attending here, to win bounties. So last year, he came here. He's called Santiago Devrel, and let me put his Twitter handle in the group, so you could even tag him. So last year he left over 1,500. He came and we did hackathons, and though they were like $2,000, he's here. Though they were like $200, around like 6 people got into these bounties and they didn't need to move. So one of the things that I am doing myself is to do my best to lobby for these people to come and at least leave bounties here for developers. Yeah, that's the first thing. Then the other thing, of course, engaging on Twitter, sharing what you do. So um, cohort 1, I think my internet is dying out. So I have very few MBs today. The main internet is installing a local version of DeepSeek, so I'm using mobile internet and it is moving very fast. But yes, so one of the things at least I'm doing is to ensure that we can lobby for these bounties. Oh, so yeah. Yeah, hope I'm audible. So, am I audible? Yeah. So the main internet is really downloading something huge, and the phone internet is off. But I think uh, I'll use this. Yes. So some of the opportunities that we are lobbying for the Ugandan community is this is his X, so you can follow him. You can always see what he's tweeting. Um, is to so one of the things we are doing is to ensure that we have bounties come back to us. So the other thing is there are many like opportunities this year where Ugandans can participate. So let me be sharing here. So there is I think My Africa Challenge in Kenya. Africa Challenge. And these will be challenges in the Web3 space. Kenya, I think it will be in the 19th, around 19th May. So for this, what I'm trying to drive at, because I was in Kenya last year for My Africa Challenge, and I managed to get something. But what I want to drive at is that as a Ugandan community, if we go there, like we are given sort of at least some issues like accommodation, because this takes a week. So if we get accommodation and food, and we already have that value, at least you can go and compete. So these are the opportunities that are just coming here within our premise. So that is around May 19th. So the Santiago, it's called, I think, the Risk Road Tour. The tour is around I think 4 African countries, but for Uganda, it's happening on May. No, not May, on March 8th. So if you get some good bounty from here, you build something, and as long as you can build something, build it, show it out, and keep iterating. By the time you have these hackathons, you can build, and then if you win or get funded, you can take it to another level. And Risk is so pro Africa, so they have a lot of support. Yeah, so these are coming. The roadshow is on March 8th, and Mema is on 19th. So Safari is always in September. And yeah, if you don't have like a lot of money, you can go by bus. I think it's around 200,000. And if you are a group, then you have less expenditure. And yeah, open up these opportunities and hack. Like you can win one hackathon and get some good money that is even more than if you are working a job in a year. But also there are other opportunities online. So online there is a lot. There are a lot of places to engage in building. Yes, there are many hackathons that are happening. Global. Dora hacks. Yes, Mr. Ronnie.
What about Ethiopia?
So Ethiopia is happening now. It was for builders. It was a builder residence, and it's I think the hackathon is happening from 14th to 17th, I think. But the issue is you have to have a ticket. Yeah, and you have to be a builder, so you have to be invited. For you to spend in Ethiopia, you can just attend and be in hackathon, but then you have all the expenses on you. So yeah, it's happening right now, and Risk ran some sort of thing, to give like I think 3 tickets to African builders. So yeah, and we had one Ugandan who went through. So yeah, it's happening right now, and the building is happening. What they're having is of course sessions, interactions, networking, and the building is happening from 14th to 17th. But if you can, and the bad thing is that those buildings are in real life, so IRL, in real life events, which is not the case for online hackathons. Online hackathons, you just participate remotely. Yeah. So for Ethiopia, that's what's happening. But yeah, you could engage if you have someone who is there. You can team up with them and build something. But they would need as I know, they need one person on site from the team. Yeah, this is good. So for the Risk Road tour, you can sign up here. I think we can also put this in the Telegram channel. Yeah. Somebody was asking.
Yes, it's me again. I was asking who sponsors these Ethereum events like Safari, Ethiopia, and why doesn't Uganda have such? Who sponsors these Ethereum
So
events and why doesn't Uganda have?
okay, so things are driven by the community mostly. For Ethereum, for example, for something like Safari. Safari started as an initiative of Safari, and they ran it from 2021, and in 2023 they got a retroactive grant from Optimism. So retroactive grant is you've done something, and it's like an appreciation. So these start from convictions of people because of the tech. So decentralization has brought a lot of good ways of earning that were not there, and has broken barriers of many centralized systems where somebody must know you. So yeah, some start as initiatives, most start as initiatives, and then they can grow. If you want to be, for example, sponsored, let me say for It's Safari, people at least should know your value. So maybe It's Safari can have like tickets for 4 builders or 5 builders around Africa, and yeah, it needs to know that you're a builder who has value in that perspective. And the easiest way to know is you keeping sharing what you do on Twitter, because that's where the market is, that's where people can know what you're doing. Some grants come from Ethereum Foundation, but there must always be proof of work. Have you done it before? Yeah, so most of you start on your own, or yeah. Yeah, maybe we could have like these discussions. I'm also feeling that people are getting a bit cold. It seems the information is overwhelming, so we could relax a bit and just keep having this conversation to point us to where we are going. But please, I had even forgotten about the roadshow link, so yeah, let's register, be part of it. This is how you're going to network. It's good that it's coming to Uganda also. We are among, I think, the 4 countries. Yeah, be there, engage, hug, compete, share what you know. Uganda has this, we have this bad thing of always putting our heads down, push yourself forward. Now, like these things of writing on Twitter, writing what you're learning every day. Imagine you were documenting every day something about this every day, and you're posting on Twitter. But around that day, someone will realize, even if they are not interacting, and Before you know it, you'll get a DM, because all those questions, who sponsors this, who sponsors this, people are there, but they need to see what are you doing, what are you building, or yeah, what do you talk about. And the best way is they will find you on X and see your content, maybe look through your GitHub, or yeah, that's it. So any other thing? Do you want to go for Ethiopia?
Yeah, well, which Ugandan won that Santiago's thing?
I think is it Brenda or Diana? I don't know the name, but she was, I think she was here in the first recording. I think that recording is on YouTube. Let me put the link here. You can also, yeah, so you can push, maybe if you want to be like a breal or something. You need to push your work out there, because no one will really know what you're doing. Read.ai meeting notes, is it? So yeah, this is read.ai meeting notes. So I think she's called Diana. So that's the person, I think, that is in Ethiopia. And if you can afford moving, you go network, see what others are building. But if you move without value, it doesn't help. So you need to bring value. Yeah. Okay. So this year you could plan. There's someone who has told me they have just planned for its safari, and they want to come back with a big bounty and call it a year. Yeah, so you can plan. You can plan for Mamai. I think Mamai has 5,000 in bounties, but you're going to compete with the entire continent. That's the truth. The good thing is that this technology is new, so what competes if you put in your effort. Yeah, because if we have won, then other Ugandans can win it. It's not that hard, but you require effort.
Okay, and the other thing about is safari. Do you go by invitation? Can you take yourself? I had someone talking about as if there is free transport and accommodation for Ugandans. As if, I don't know.
So maybe the person you had talking about it could be a good reference point. But for its safari, the ones I've attended, yeah, we went as builders, and there were some, of course, as a community, you can lobby for some things, like attending a safari itself. Of course, it is not for everyone, it is for builders. So like, we are coming as a community, but you have to cater for some of the things. Yeah, so we could lobby for maybe like foodings during the hackathon. So the previous safari, the hackathon took the first 3 days, and for all those days you could eat from the hackathon premise, but you had to transport yourself to where you sleep, or you sleep in the hackathon house, which was inappropriate. Yeah, so because the hacker house was just a very big room, and you have to freshen up, you have to, so it's good if you're in a group and maybe you've done you've booked some place, could be an Airbnb, it could be a hotel, and maybe you're reducing on the cost. I don't know which way. Travel, so use Uber or Bolt. So since you can order one car and you are 4 or 3, then that is also reduced price. Yeah, but you cater for yourself. You cater for yourself unless there is a provision. But if someone has probably a ticket or a free slot to win, you can, try to engage in it. Sometimes they could maybe ask a proof that you've been building to give it to you. Yeah, but it's not free. Like, any other question? So let me register for the roadshow as. So IHQ also has an incubation, I think, incubation center. So if you have you've built something good, yeah, they can take you into their incubation and. Yes, Ronnie.
Who organizes the Dev Fest? As if I saw you giving a speech on StackNet. How do you get those opportunities for representing like StackNet? And who organizes the Dev Fest?
So I think since I'm not the organizer of the DevFest, I think it is Mr. David. But to speak, for example, for StackNet, I'm a contributor mainly to infrastructure of StackNet. So as you contribute to these ecosystems are decentralized. You can represent the ecosystem. So the more you contribute to something, yeah. So I think most of the reason why you have many of those questions is because first, you're not putting your work out there, and secondly, you're not contributing, because there is this mindset of sort of a Web2 mindset where you have to climb ladders. I can say, for example, you have to talk to so and so, so and so. But most of the things in the Web3 space are really, for me, there is the networking part, but for me, I've gotten connected to many of the things through showcasing my contributions, through doing things that are building the ecosystem. And then before you know it, you are linking up to this person. Before you know it, you're linking up to this person. Some people recommend me when I don't know. They know me, but someone says, I've seen you work on Twitter. I've seen you doing this. Hey, you contributed to this. So, yeah, that's it. Yeah, most of the time. So, for example, yeah, you could, how best would you introduce yourself, for example, to Santiago as a DevRel, except through participating in the roadshow? You could be among the people who just come and say, hey, I'm so and so, but then you could be among the people who say, I'm building this, I'm building it on risk. I've been in the bootcamp. This is my Twitter handle. I've been writing about it. How can I push it further? I think that's a better conversation. So, yeah. So I know I think because you might be asking, how do I get these opportunities? But me personally, it has been all out through value. Maybe if there are others who, do a lot of networking, they could also tell you their journey. And I've also realized that if you get opportunity through value, then you have more than enough to share with others. You have, yeah.
The other thing is that when you talk about contribution, are you saying like contributing to open source or there is other forms? Because if it's like coding and contributing, it looks a bit complex and please
So
like someone advanced really
so
for someone
contribution
starting it's hard.
contribution is building something. Now, like what you've built, or the thing you've built, instead of having it only on GitHub, you can go further, write about it on Twitter. Now you've started contributing to that ecosystem. Talk about how you integrated whatever chain you integrated. Talk about uh, the the cohort, and yeah, maybe for example, because maybe talk about the central code, that way we can notice it and then hopefully retweet, give our comments, and all the people that are following what we have been doing can start noticing what you're doing, look through your code, probably do a small video, small just recording on you using it, yeah, things like that. That's contribution. And on a serious note, we really lack that as Ugandans. People don't want to talk on Twitter. People don't want to post what they are doing somewhere else. There is this feeling that in the builders that people somehow, somewhere know what is on my computer or what I've put on GitHub. That's wrong. So for me, most of the projects that I do, I will host it on GitHub and then I push it on GitHub and host it on Vercel. Then post a link on maybe Twitter with me doing it, open its Twitter account, things like that. So give it out for people to test. Here on site we have these things where we keep testing things. Yeah, recently we are testing out on pay, but it has even its Twitter account. Like, we just keep pushing. So that's how you contribute to the ecosystem. You contribute by what you're doing. And the funny thing, for example, for what we are having, you see, if you don't post about what has happened today, you will have new things tomorrow. But when you post about what has happened today, maybe on X, there will be people who will eventually notice it. And when you talk about tomorrow, there will be people who will notice it. And if you do that for 30 days, there will be a compounding of value, because the market you're really looking for in the Web3 space is a global market. Yeah, it's a market that is on X, that is on LinkedIn. It's not a market that is usually so Ugandan. So you're going to be doing hackathons, you're going to contribute to some code that somebody could find you on LinkedIn and just message you. So yeah, that should be the mindset. And then for the opportunities that come back to Uganda, you should participate so that if you get something, it helps you to stay building and stay learning in the space. Yes. Yeah, I love the questions. I sensed people are so quiet, so I don't know why. Yeah, any other sort of you can have a concern or you can have an addition on that. You can tell us what you're doing. Um, there's some people doing here something on site. Yeah, Maria.
Actually, it's me. My PC disconnected, so I'm using my ears.
Okay.
I was wondering because we would I personally would love to go for it safari this year. I don't know about the other people. So I was wondering, is it possible we could find some kind of a scholarship, at least for maybe the transportation or accommodation, just to ease up things for us since it's going to be our first experience and we don't want to, you know, get into all those unexpected situations of of spending money unnecessarily. So I was just wondering, is it possible we could find something of that kind? Something that would just help subsidize the expenditure for us.
So for its safari, I think last year we really the Ugandan community in terms of building created a great impact and sort of a great name that actually there is something we are building here. One of the contributing factors for its safari, for us to have a subsidization on its safari, is actually to put our work out there as a community. You see, one of the challenges that we are having, even in this cohort, is I've not seen this energy of, like you suggested, people follow each other on Twitter, like people pushing other students. The truth about the space is that it is not individual. It's about a community. So if you want to, for example, to ask for accommodation for builders. So last year, we really I was actually because it was the first time we went that many builders, but I was the one leading the builders, and I had to lobby for us to have a subsidized things. So one of the things that we had was we had a Cliffy, a train ticket to Cliffy, catered for the builders. So we are 8. We had also for those 3 days at this we had food at the hackathon arena. You could eat, drink, but you could also sleep there. But then also as a community, it was very cheap for us to sleep and transport because we had one Airbnb. So we got one Airbnb in a safe place. I don't know if you know, they are called White House Apartments. We got actually 2 Airbnbs and it was cheap. Because even if it was one person, they were going to pay the same amount. So at least as you lobby, there are some things that, you know, can be catered for. But then if we want to go, for example, something like its safari, we need to build it now. What are you guys building? What is the world seeing that is coming from Ugandan community? In case somebody, you know, here is doing something, push it, retweet it, attach yourself to that success. So that's why when I saw, for example, Mwanje's just GitHub, the first thing I did is give it a star, clone, you know, talk like push it in a way. So if I find it even on Twitter, retweet, because we all have different engagements. Then from that you can lobby for something as a group. Probably this time we could say because for memoir I got an opportunity to my accommodation, my sleeping was catered for because I had participated in the previous year in the Polkadot, you know, hackathon, and when I was going, I asked them, could they do it? So they said, since I'm a builder, they have a reputation, yeah, they could do it. But for East Safari, those were the things that we are doing. For example, even for Ethiopia, so they asked builders, there was a builders residence program where builders were catered for sleep, eating, yeah, for sleep and breakfast, but then you had to pay for your ticket and moving. So you had to have like at least 500 for your moving. But yeah, there as a builder, there is a builder residence program. So we could really capitalize on those, but that starts now or has already started. So that by that time we have enough value that our presence makes a difference. And also we are going to, you know, we can compete with the aim of bring back that money. Yeah, it doesn't make any harm because you could find that maybe there is like 20,000 in bounties. Even if you bring back 8,000 or 1,000 in all of us, that not 1,000 but 80,000 or 10,000, 8,000 or 10,000 or something that back that is divided based on what we have been building, that's a win-win. So going there is no guarantee that you're going to talk to this person, but the guarantee is that you've created enough value, not just as an individual, first as an individual, but as a community. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to add on something little from my observation in the ecosystem for the longer I've been here. What I have observed for us as Ugandans, we're fond of working in working solo. Like you have a project and you want to run it from the start to the end all by your own. Like we love this thing of wanting to be famous alone, and I think it's what has affected our progress in the Web3 ecosystem. Because when you look at Nigeria, for instance, they always work in groups. Most of their projects that you're going to look at, they are done in groups. So I'm just imploring all of us, let this bootcamp make a difference in the Web3 ecosystem for Uganda. At least if we're going for a hackathon, for instance, find a team, find people you're working with. The reason why some people have, this is what I think. I don't know if I'm right or not, but I think why we haven't uh, had a significant impact in the ecosystem on the scale of the continent is because we're always trying to do things in on our own as individuals. So I think if we adopt the culture of working in groups, working as teams, and genuinely just working together to bring projects and products to life, I believe we're going to make significant progress, and who knows where we'll be in the next few months. That's why I actually recommended that we follow each other on X and monitor each other and see how much progress we're all making, because that will, one, motivate all of us to keep going, to keep learning. Because every time you do not know what is happening around you, you don't have the motivation to move forward. So when we follow each other, I think we'll be able to guide each other to be better people in Web3 development, but also to incentivize ourselves to learn more and more and more, and maybe work together and bring some wonderful products to life. So I just implore us to at least adopt the culture of working in teams. I believe it will be helpful for all of us.
Okay, that's great advice. I can't agree more. We need to be more deliberate, surely. Um, you would find, for example, when we went for Eid Safari, so initially people thought we are going to do like one project. Six of us actually hacked, the other two, yeah, we are moving around, though they were builders. But I told all the builders that, you know what, for us to take back enough money, since all of us are builders, each one of us can build and then have a team member back home. Yeah. So because they are saying one person should be on site, and then we say, instead of us, maybe three of us teaming up here and we are all on site, maybe each of us has team members back home, those who have not come, and then build, so that in any case, if you get something, that we can get more probabilities of earning, of getting these bounties. But also we can subsidize on expenditure. If you put someone in a team, at least back home, and you have won, yes, you can share. But then also, if you haven't won, then at least you can let them know, and in a way they contribute towards some of your expenses. So we need to be very intentional about working more. I also love the thing of asking questions, working together. I also love the theme of asking questions. How have you done it? Like, we need more aggressive. We need to be more aggressive. Sometime back in the first session, we talked about things like, if you feel like we need an next space to talk about what you've built this week. For example, all of us can maximize on just the project that we did yesterday. You redo your own project, then you create a Twitter space, share about what everybody did. You could simply, maybe, probably just change through the look using AI or chat GPT, and you change the way the thing looks. Like, creating that sort of vibe around it, talking about what you're learning, making sure that we as a community, you guys mobilize each other, yeah, and be out there. Sometimes if we keep this spirit of updating like what we are doing, it could be very easy to tell someone, you know what, man, I've been building, I want to go for this, but I don't have money. What is it? I know I can get the bounty. For example, the thing that happened to me during memoir is I was very sure I'd prepared for it for like 3 months. I was very sure that whatever they will bring, I'll be flexible enough to build something at least that will have sizable impact. And when I went to Kenya, I tried to get a team and no one like came to my rescue, because I think I was the only Ugandan then. There were Nigerians, Ugandans, and Kenyans, and people were like, "What can he do?" But seriously, I'd sort of, like practiced prior. So I remember that last day I sat and did my code. I wrote code in a way that it was like as if I was teaching. Like I could write a line, explain what it's doing, do my smart contracts, do the front end, back end, and yeah, I submitted. And even the judges told me that the reason why I was the winner is because my code was so clear that if somebody didn't know how to read code, they could read it in English. So surprising enough, I was the winner, and it taught me that we just need to to be more intentional. Um, when I was going, that money was borrowed, fun enough. So I got a friend who believed in what I was doing by then, because I'd gone for one of the previous hackathons and for Polkadot, and I didn't win. So that was like my second hackathon. But the guy was like, "Man, I see what you're doing. I know if you don't make it, you will at least get something somewhere." So yeah, that can be your trust, the trust you push to, because you might say, we want to be helped, you want, where is the proof of your value? Yeah, so that's my encouragement. And also the thing you said, collaboration. You know how many ideas, if you've been building, that have died? Maybe they're on your GitHub, you left it there, but maybe if you engaged a team, it would have kept on surviving. Or yeah, so we need to break those bonds that somebody is going to steal my idea. I've seen that there is actually, most of the time, we have those insecurities, yet there is nothing to steal. So share around. If you've gotten an easier way of connecting a wallet, share. If you've gotten, you've tested someone's thing, it's not working, tell him. Just recently, one person here was testing one dapper that I'm developing, and it wasn't like connecting on a phone. And I just changed that. I didn't know that actually the wallet isn't connecting on the phone. It was JavaScript that wasn't connecting. So yeah, so let's let's share, let's keep growing. Don't underestimate what you have. Let it be out there. Write about it, talk about it, record a small thing with OBS, tag us and let us keep pushing each other. You can also use the Telegram as much as you want, like ask or engage someone, tag someone. I think that's the best place. Yeah, so that's good discussion. Any other thing? Because surely one of the things that I'm seeing is the steam. Yeah, as Ronnie said, we need more steam. We need more steam. We need to know that something is coming. We need to see maybe what we are working up to. And I know one thing, that these first sessions have been tough, because the arrangement that I had, because maybe I would have started with just teaching smart contracts, but I want to have that mindset that of building products. Uh, Sometimes you may just need for example, when we connected yesterday, there are very many smart contracts that are deployed out there. Maybe you want to transact, let me say, USDC, all those on a given chain, all the smart contracts were already deployed. And yeah, sometimes you only need to go on a chain, get their API and get their wallet address, and just build the front end. Sometimes you just need to go through the entire thing. So as long as you know that this is where the smart contracts connects, this is what I need, you can keep building on something. So yeah, and also uh, so we had Twitter Spaces always on Fridays, but now it will be a challenge. I encourage us to be on those spaces. Let's talk, let's push our talk online. Yeah, let's push our talk online. Let's engage. We have a very good advantage to to make things better. One thing I know is that people are watching. There's a lot of engagement on, yeah. Most of the teams here sound to be knowing Solidity. Uh, how about come up with building products while we learn? I think that's what we are doing. One of the things is I've seen is, so someone is saying here, I think Omega, from the way things are moving, looks like most of the teams here sound to be knowing Solidity. How about come up with building products while we learn? So one of the challenges I've seen is many people claim to know things when they don't know. So what I mean is you can watch, like, for example, Solidity videos. If really you haven't practiced, you don't know. So for example, if you look at the questions that Ronnie was asking, he really tried out things. He tried out with Sepolia, and I guess he was the only one who tried out, because I checked even other people who submitted their wallet addresses, and their wallet addresses they don't have any transaction, and that's the big problem we have. You're not going to bring value if you're not putting your hands to work. Like, however many tutorials you sit and watch, if you don't replicate that, then you find issues. So there is no way we can say people know how to build, yet they are not building. So yeah, so try. You can also like build something, and tell us, tag us in what you're building, maybe just freely. Try out something, doesn't have to be perfect. Only one functionality is enough. Like, we need to know our capacities. That's the best way I can say. Yeah, so the thing is build. Let us know what you're building, let the community know. Yeah, and then at least it can be pushed, because I think that's the best way. I've seen many people like talk, probably I know this language. When they are tasked to build something out of it, they really don't know the language. Yeah, so that's the issue that we really have. We need products, we need projects, because that's the reference point where you have value and you're asking for value. It's an exchange of value. All right, but that's a great thing. As we keep moving, weekly we are very intentional about building products. At least every week we shall be step further on building. Next week we shall be doing a lot of deep dives in the nitty-gritties of Solidity, things like call, reentrance attacks, and then third week it will be React and building. And then we don't have any fear about Solidity, but to just now be building our full apps, React, keeping on adding our smart contracts and things like that. And I believe, yeah, by 8th of March we should have tenacity individually to present something, anything. Yeah, thank you. Any other concern or addition? Yes.
I was wondering, can you all hear me now? Hello?
Clear.
Yes, okay. So I was wondering, would there be sessions about communication, like formal and corporate communication? Because, for example, if you're pitching an idea, if you're pitching a concept to someone, you don't talk normally. There are certain guidelines, guiding principles that are supposed to help you be effective in delivering your message. So, will we have sessions on corporate communication and how to pitch ideas to potential investors, those kinds of things?
Okay. So that's something to think about. I had just organized for teams on site to be having like those sessions at 11 in the morning on every Tuesday. But probably we can, if the people are interested, I feel there is a code that is still within, the builders. Yeah, so if people get interested in it, of course we shall have them. But for on-site builders, I think we organize they will be happening every Tuesday around 11 in the morning. So yeah, they're like pitch Tuesdays. Otherwise, we have really run also to tonight. Um, if there is no more concerns, yeah, we can call it a Wednesday. Our assignments are still running. I encourage us, to do. Don't sit on yourself. Do the assignments. So now we've added on something. Um, yeah. So let's do the assignments and let's keep engaging. What's the assignment again? Install Foundry. Install Foundry. Then do your studies DAP or build your studies DAP. Your studies DAP. On risk Sepolia. Yeah, so both are deploying the smart contract and the HTML. So both the code is on GitHub and you can find it in the Telegram channel. And then do a bit of research on smart contracts. And yeah, so submit sort of your I can say your addresses or your details in there is a registration link. I think it is also registration link in Telegram. Yeah, so that we can track your wallet address and whether you've deployed on Lisk Sepolia and also made changes to make sure that you think like your DApp uses Lisk Sepolia. So yeah, I encourage you, if you're stuck, you can inquire from Mr. Mwajeroni, or you can inquire from me on how to go about it. So that's the assignment. I think I should also put it in Telegram. Okay. If there are no more questions or no more clarifications, the concerns were good, and I think we can work towards that. Probably Safari yeah, let's see how we build. Let's see how how we bring in more money to our pocket so that by safari we are self-sufficient. And yeah, have a great night. If there is no more questions. Podamba. You have also, who is Podamba? I've always seen his hand up when I said have a great night.